Good evening, welcome to Resource Prepping. I'm your host, Craig. I think it was yesterday, a few days ago, I did a video on why Joe Biden doesn't care about the high price of gasoline and how he is going to be in compliance and committed to the United Nations Agenda 2030 Sustainable Living Act. And lo and behold, here comes the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttjudge. He gives a speech, and this is on Breitbart News, gives a speech and statements stating, urging the public to get rid of the gasoline-powered cars, switch over to electric cars, or start taking advantage of the public transportation offered to us. This is what I told you, folks. They are going to make the price of gasoline so high, so prohibitive, that you are going to be forced to trade in your car, your gasoline car, which you will get nothing for because it's been devalued so much. They're going to put you in a super expensive electric car, or they're going to force you to take buses, subways, trains, whatever it is, to go into the city or rail station. And that's on Breitbart News. That, again, it's our fault for being reliant on fossil fuels. Now, 70%, and I have notes here, 70% of the public in a recent poll says America should be able to drill for more oil and provide our own people energy and once again become energy independent. 18% of the public and those that polled disapprove of drilling for more oil. Joe Biden doesn't care. He does not care. It was recently divulged and disclosed that he pleaded with Saudi Arabia to sell us more oil, produce more oil, and reduce the cost. And in a very public statement, Saudi Arabia rebuked Joe Biden, embarrassing him. Now, in secret talks, it has been revealed that he has gone to Venezuela asking them if the United States could buy their oil and supply a brutal dictator with a cash flow. And of course, he's saying, yeah, I'll sell you all you want. Also in talks with Iran, being represented by China and Russians, because we don't have direct talks, about supplying America and producing more oil for the world market. But we are not allowed to drill for more because this administration and these people buried within this administration have a commitment to transforming our world 2030 agenda for sustainable development through the United Nations. That would be John Kerry and others. All right? So, now I want to give you some information. And again, this is right out of the United Nations agenda. And you figure it out, and I'll help you on how this is going to fit. Here's some of the highlights on what they want to implement. Number one, clean and renewable energy for climate change. Solar power, electric cars, renewable wind. So that's on the top of the agenda. Get rid of fossil fuels. Reduce dependence on fossil fuels because they're nasty and horrible. Reduce fresh water intake. And you can see it through all of your plumbing stuff where it has water regulators, toilets, shower heads, everything else, plus irrigation for farms. Ask the California farmers how much water they're limited to. And even in California right now, you are theoretically limited to 55 gallons of water a day per household. And you figure out how much that is. If you have 55 gallons of water allotment and you do a load of laundry once a day, you've exceeded your allotment of 55 gallons of water plus drinking. Think about that. But that's all part of this 2030 agenda to control the water by the government to say how much you can use and how much you can drink. Clean Water Initiative. Get rid of the fertilizers and all the irrigation and promote renewable growth. In other words, they want plenty of fresh water, but they want to be able to control it and tell you how much you can drink, what you can use it for, and is it clean, renewable sources, again, for the climate control agenda. Regulate global economy to ensure fairness and equality with poorer nations. So those nations, meaning us, who have a lot of economy, growth, wealth, is going to be regulated into giving a percentage to say, as an example, which they use in the United Nations agenda, poorer countries in Africa. And again, this will be regulated by the United Nations in compliance and acceptance of the government. So say by some miracle, Joe Biden gets reelected, he's going to go with this agenda and ship some of our wealth according to those who have versus those who have not, and to be equitable about the portion of the economy. Regulate global economy to ensure fairness and equality to the poorer nations. Here's another one that is absolutely hideous. Hideous. And Cory Booker tried to do this, and Trump absolutely squashed this and ruined it. But this is all part of the insidious United Nations plan. Planned urban settlements with sustainable environments. In other words, what the idea is, we are going to take over large acreage in rural and urban communities and build houses, apartment housings that are environmentally friendly and move people into those and you out. That's all part of the Agenda 2030. So they're planning communities to meet with the climate change and the growth. And they are going to put people in there whether you like it or not. And Cory Booker, the senator, was part of implementing this, and Trump and I forgot the doctor's name, he's a good guy, exposed this, and he absolutely destroyed it. But the Democrats were all on board of this. Finally, here's the one where we're at right now. Facilitate orderly, safe, regular, responsible migration and mobility of the people through movement and migration across the globe. So Joe Biden has open borders and allowing people to migrate. And how many times have you heard the Democrats saying, well, these are just poor migrants wanting a better life? They're not illegal aliens. These are migrants. That is usage right out of the 2030 agenda. You've seen it here in America because they want to take the poor people, bring it up here to America, rob us of our wealth to distribute it, and have, quote, fair labor. It's in there as well as you've seen it in Canada being destroyed and all across Europe. Syrians, Nigerians, Ethiopians, all these places are now swept across Europe. You've seen it. Germany now has no native Germans. They are all more migrants and immigrants outnumber the natural Germans. You've seen this all across. Hungary has closed off its borders and saying, no, we're not going to be part of this flood. And you've seen this. Greece is overwhelmed. Japan says, no, we're not taking any of that. Although they did say we will take some Ukrainians. China's another one saying, we're not having any of it. But overall, the global migration to change the population of the sovereign countries is all part of this 2030 agenda so they can implement it and have control over it. The economy, what you eat, how you grow it, how much water you consume, how much money you make, where you live. Does it meet the 2030 global agenda? And you can read it for yourself. I'm giving it to you right now. Transforming Our World, the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. Now, I know this is a little long. I know it's late at night. You probably watch it in the morning. But this is what I and many others have been warning you against. And this is exactly why you should be prepping and looking after yourself. There is an agenda. It is in writing. It is right in front of you. They use a lot of fancy words about modernizing the infrastructure and redoing it so it is climate acceptable. Where have you heard that before? Oh, we have to renew our infrastructure. We have to go green. That's in there too. Everything that you are seeing and hearing that is destroying our country is part of the 2030 agenda. And how can you do this? How can you live through this nightmare? By learning to grow your own food, by preparing yourself, by having your own renewable resources, growing your own vegetable gardens, having your own chickens, your goats, your sheep, your cattle, if possible, learning how to be self-reliant, or else you're going to get trapped up into this and you're going to be put in a sustainable community. That's coming, folks. It's absolutely coming. 2030 means for real. And if Trump gets reelected, that's going to put him even further behind. So they're stepping on the gas right now. Please look it up. Read for yourself. Educate you. If you don't believe me or if you think this is a conspiracy theory, please read it. Educate yourself. Tell me what you think. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Get yourself right with God, get baptized, and pray for our country. Greg out.